Questions 11 through 20 on the 2014 Grade 11 Fermat Math Contest. A is equal to 2 over 3b, then 9a plus 8b over 6a is equal to. All right, let's just do a direct substitution for b, and that would give me the following. First, I have to isolate for b. If a is equal to 2 over 3b, then that means 3a over 2 is b. So let's substitute that in. 3a over 2, and then that's of course all over 6a. So this is going to be 9a plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12a all over 6a. And that is 21a over 6a. The a's cancel and you just get 21 over 6. Divide top and bottom by 3 and you'll get 7 over 2. And therefore number 11, the answer is A. 10 to the power of x times 10 to the power of 5 is equal to 100 to the power of 4. What is the value of x? Well, using exponent rules, this part just becomes x plus 5 as the exponent. This is 10 squared to the power of 4. Correct? So this now remains the same, but then this side we can just call 10 to the power of 8, 2 times 4. Since the bases are the same, the exponents must be the same, so x plus 5 is equal to 8, and therefore x is equal to 8 minus 5, and therefore x is equal to 3. So number 12, the answer is E. How many positive integers between 10 and 1,000 have the property that the sum of the digits of n is 3? Well, the numbers are between 11 and 999 inclusive in that range. So first let's look at the numbers that only have 2 digits. So if you have 2 digits and you want the sum of the digits to be 3, we can put either 1 and 2, either 2 and 1, or 3 and 0. That's the only way of doing that. So there's 3 of these guys. Now let's look at the numbers that have 3 digits. If there's 3 digits, we can put 111, 120, or 102. Another way of making these numbers would be to put 2 in the front, and that would give me either 10 or 01. And then the last way is to put a 3 and then have 0 and 0. So we got 3 here, another 3 here, so a total of 9 if you add all these up. So number 13, the answer is D. Last summer, Pat worked at a summer camp. For each day he worked, he earned $100 and he was not charged for food. For each day that he did not work, he was not paid and he was charged $20 for food. After 70 days, the money that he earned minus the food cost equals 5,440. Of how many of the 70 days did Pat work? Well, 70 days. Certain days he worked, certain days he did not work. So we'll say that the x represents the number of days he worked, and 70 minus x represents the days he had no work. So the days he works, he gets $100. So 100 times x is how much money he makes. The days he does not work, which is 70 minus x, he gets charged $20 for some reason for food. So we obviously have to take this and subtract from it this. So there we go. Put a subtraction sign and that equals 5,440. So this is the math we have to solve. All right, 100x minus 20 times 70, 1400, and then plus 20x is 5,440. And now we continue to solve. 120x is equal to 6840, and then dividing through by 120 we get x equal to 57. So that represents the number of days he worked, and therefore number 14, the answer is D. On each spin of the spinner shown, the arrow is equally likely to stop on any one of the four numbers. Deanna spins the arrow on the number twice. She multiplies together the two numbers on which the arrow stops. Which product is most likely to occur? Well, on the first spin, we have 4 possible choices. On the second spin, we have 4 possible choices, so a total of 16 possible outcomes. And since there's not that many, we can just write them all out. So here's the first one, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the possible outcomes. And then we are looking at the product. So let me just write in the product while I make this list. So there's the first 4. Next one, the first one, you get 2 when you spin it. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 as possible choices for the next one. These products are 2, 4, 6, and 8. Next one, in a very similar way, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these products are 3, 6, 9, and 12. And then finally, 4, 4, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these products are 4, 8, 12, and 16. So what they're saying is which product occurs the most. All right, look through these lists. 1 only looks like it happens once. 2 happens twice. 3 happens twice. 4 happens 3 times. 6 happens twice. 8 happens twice. 9 looks like it only happens once. 12 looks like it happens twice. 16 only happens once. So it was the 4 that happens the most. It happens 3 times. So the product that's most likely to occur is 4. Therefore, number 15, the answer is B. At the start of a 5-hour trip, the odometer in Jill's car indicates that her car had already been driven 13831 kilometers. The integer 13831 is a palindrome because it is the same when read forwards or backwards. At the end of the 5-hour trip, the odometer was reading another palindrome. If Jill never drove faster than 80 kilometers per hour, her greatest possible average speed was closest to. All right, what I did was I just used the answer choices. So you just take each of these, multiply by 5, and add it to the 13831, and off you go. So let's just do that. So 13831 plus 62, the first answer choice, times 5. And when you do that, you get 14141. And in a very similar way, if you do it for the other ones, you get 13931, 14041, 13911, 14216. Well, these guys are not even palindromes, so those are out. Now, the remaining, they want you to find the greatest speed. And of these, all of these are palindromes, and the greatest speed of these is obviously 62. So the answer to number 16 is A. Sergio recently opened a store. One day he determined that the average number of items sold per employee to date was 75. The next day, he saw that one employee sold 6 items, one employee sold 5, and one employee sold 4 items. The remaining employees each sold 3 items. This made the new average number of items sold per employee to date equal 78.3. How many employees are there at the store? The items divided by the number of employees is 75. So, for example, whatever you want to say, if there was 3,000 items and there was 40 employees, if you did this math, it equals 75. So that's pretty much a scenario. They want you to figure out what is E. Well, I don't know. So let's figure this out. Based entirely on the question and the information they give me, I can deduce the following. 75E, which is the initial number of items based on that equation, plus 6 plus 5 plus 4, right? 6, 5, and 4. And plus the fact that 3 items per the remaining employees. We've already talked about 3 of them, these 3 guys. So there's E minus 3 remaining, and each of those sells 3 items. And then this new average, you have to divide, of course, by the number of employees, is 78.3. So this is the algebra we have to do. So this becomes 75E plus 15 plus 3E minus 9 is 78.3E. All right, so that means 6 is equal to, let's see here, 0.3. Yeah, E. And then if you divide both sides by 0.3, E is equal to 20. So there's 20 employees in the store. So number 17, the answer is C. A square is cut along a diagonal and reassembled to form a parallelogram PQRS as shown in the diagram. If PR is 90, what is the area of the original square? So this was the square, right? You had a square like this, and what they did is they chopped it in half and put the other half over on this side. So that's basically what they did. Okay, now that that's been explained, let's talk about how to approach this question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the square, what it looked like before it was cut and rearranged. So something like that, right? Obviously. And let's say the side of the square is x. So this is x, that's x, and this is also x, PQ. And now we look at PR. So PR is from there to there. Well, I can use this triangle and Pythagoras to figure out the length of PR. PR squared will be x squared plus 2x squared. Well, PR, they told me, is 90. So actually, I'm not trying to figure out PR. I'm trying to figure out the square's dimensions and then later the area of the square. So x squared plus 4x squared, so that's 5x squared, is equal to 90 squared, which is 8,100. So x squared would be 8,100 divided by 5, which is 1620. And then they want you to figure out the area of the square. Well, the area of the square is x squared. That's it. I already got it. So I really don't need to figure out the square root. Number 18, therefore, 1620 is B. Max and Minnie each add up sets of 3-digit positive integers. Each of them adds 3 different 3-digit integers whose 9 digits are all different. Max creates the largest possible sum. Minnie creates the smallest possible sum. The difference between Max's sum and Minnie's sum is. All right, so Max and Minnie. So let's see here. We've got to create 3-digit numbers for each of them. And one criteria is that all of the digits have to be different for each of these. So Max, we have to make the largest possible. So let's put a 9 here, an 8 here, a 7 here, 6, 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1. I'm pretty confident this is the way to make the 3 largest numbers, considering the fact that I can't use the digits more than once. All the digits have to be different. Okay, so this sum, if I were to add these 3 guys, is 2, 5, 5, 6. Okay, now let's do something similar with Minnie, but hers has got to be the smallest possible sum. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I can't put 0 as the first digit because otherwise it wouldn't be a 3-digit number. But I can put 0 for the second. So 0, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, and 8. So I think this is the way to make the numbers as small as possible based on the conditions of the question. All right, now I've got to add these guys up, 106, 247, and 358, and when I do, I get 711. So that's sum, just like the convenience store. And now the difference between these two numbers, 2556 minus 711, is 1845. So number 19, the answer is C. In the diagram, triangle PQR has PQ equal to QR is equal to RP is equal to 30. Points S and T are on PQ and PR respectively, so that ST is parallel to QR. Points V and U are on QR, so that TU is parallel to PQ and SV is parallel to PR. If VS plus ST plus TU is 35, the length of VU is. Well, the fact that this is parallel and then this is parallel to that side means that these are similar triangles. These little guys are similar to the big guy. That's pretty much what they're getting at with that whole parallel stuff. All right, so let's label this now. They told me that the big triangle is equilateral, right? PQ equals QR is equal to RP. All right. PQ equals QR. Yeah, so that's equilateral. So that means if all of these are the same, then those little guys are also equilateral, these two, since they're similar. So I'll just call those sides X, like that. And therefore, the distance from V to U would be 30 minus 2x. And then, if you were to drop a perpendicular from S down to the bottom like that, and T down to the bottom like that, it would essentially chop the bases in half. So the distance, for example, from here to here would be x over 2. And the distance from here to here would be x over 2. Similarly, that would be x over 2. That's x over 2. So the distance S to T is 30 minus this x over 2 and that x over 2. So basically, it's 30 minus x. Okay, I think we have everything we need. Now we can use that piece of information. VS plus ST plus TU is 35. So VS I have labeled as x. ST I have labeled as 30 minus x. And TU I have labeled as x. And they told me that's 35. So when I solve this, I get x is equal to 5. All right, so my last step is to figure out the length of VU. VU is 30 minus 2x according to the labeling. So that's going to be 30 minus 2 times 5, which is 30 minus 10, which is 20. So number 20, the answer is 20, which is choice D.